Mike Emmerich and Roxanne Stein. Together, they give you the edge.
The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Cleveland Stadium, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. Brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like. Mazda value. By Bud Light. Everything else is just alike. And by Harris Corporation and their Lanier Business Product Divisions. Lanier, we're easy to use. Today, it is standing room only in Cleveland, Ohio. 80,000 jam Cleveland Stadium. It's been sold out for weeks. Always is. When the Browns and the Steelers renew this most heated rivalry. It's tight at the top in the AFC Central Division, where right now Cleveland and Cincinnati are in a tie, both at 7-4. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Cricky with Bob Trumpy on kind of an ugly day in Cleveland. It's cold. It's been raining all day. More rain is forecast, but in truth, that's just like they like it for this toe-to-toe slug-it-out football rematch between the Browns and the Steelers. Trump, do you think the wet field favors either team?
Yeah, Don, you got to pick the team that runs the ball the best. Last year, Cleveland, an excellent running team, a real power running team with Biner and Mack. This year, averaging just 88 yards rushing per game. For Pittsburgh, since they got Ernest Jackson 8 weeks ago, they've averaged 150 yards rushing per game. So the straight-ahead offense of Pittsburgh, you got to feel that Pittsburgh feels good. Besides, when you're 4-7, anything like that, weather, slippery footing, snow, as an underdog, you feel better about your chances.
Well, the wet weather could lead to turnovers, and they've been a big factor in this series. In fact, in the last 11 meetings between the Browns and the Steelers, the team with the fewest turnovers has won the game. The home crowd will be a big factor for the Browns, but the absence of Frank Minifield, or the possible absence of this fine cornerback, could be a factor, too.
Last week, Minifield strained a calf. Now, they got Mark Harper, a rookie, starting in his spot, and that's a big spot because Lewis Lips and John Stallworth in 1985 combined for 17 touchdown receptions. So far this year, just one. But they are two big play players for the Pittsburgh Steelers that we might see a lot of today.
Well, we're ready to go, and it's always a good one, this series that has a history of upsets. The Browns deployed to kickoff to our right in their all-white uniforms. In an earlier meeting, the Browns came from behind and beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Chuck Noll, the Pittsburgh coach, felt that the officials had a lot to do with that. The Steelers were penalized 9 times for over 100 yards, and Noel publicly brought that out this week. He criticized the officiating in the last meeting. Matt Barr kicks it off. A short kickoff. It's going to be fielded at the 12-yard line. Coming up with the ball is Lupe Sanchez, and he is out to the 24-yard line. Swept under by a wave of Cleveland tacklers as Mark Malone leads the Pittsburgh offense out. He has been excellent of late. After a poor start this season, Malone's really come on. And so is the running game of the Steelers, keyed around Abercrombie and Ernest Jackson, a free agent acquisition who's been outstanding. John Stallworth, now the veteran receiver, in there with Lewis Lips to start out at the flanks. As the rain has started up again. It rained harder earlier, and now it's coming down again at Cleveland Stadium. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh as Lips goes in motion to the run. The ball is hammered out to about the 29-yard line. On a 1st down carry. Walter Abercrombie, who leads the Steelers in rushing and receiving, was the man who carried the football. Looking at the Browns defensively, Golick, he's the defensive line. Linebackers, the strength of the Cleveland defense. Eddie Johnson's the leading tackler, but hampered by flu. He's been very sick, but he's in uniform and ready to go. Steelers now have it 2nd down and 6. Ernest Jackson takes on some Cleveland Browns and gets very little. Got only a yard, Trump, out to the 30-yard line.
On first big play of the game by Chip Banks, number 56. He's seen that underneath handoff, weak side sweep by Pittsburgh for so many years. He was right there to take on the guard, and he really disrupted the way that. Watch Chip Banks. On the right-hand side of the screen, he recognizes it. He's right there to take on Wolfley. Jumps inside, and Jackson's got to change his route a little bit. There for the tackle. Very little gain.
Passing down for Malone and the Steelers. Malone with only 1 interception in his last 127 throws. He's been highly accurate. after a very poor first 4 games. First throw of the game, a long lead, and Abercrombie has it for a Steeler first down out to the 44-yard line. 13-yard gain on the play for Pittsburgh.
Chip Banks had him out of the backfield. Ray Ellis finally knocked him out of bounds. Excellent play call by Pittsburgh. Watch, you'll see Chip Banks is a guy just behind Walter Abercrombie. And there's Ellis, the free safety. He's over to knock him out. First down, Pittsburgh.
In the first 4 games this year, Malone had 2 TD throws and 9 interceptions. Sat out 2 games then when Brisker was in. The last 5 games, he's thrown for 9 touchdowns, has been intercepted just twice. Abercrombie on the run, takes on a tackler out to the 46-yard line. He got 2 tough yards.
And once again, Chip Banks, and that time also Ray Ellis really destroyed the timing of that run as you look at the defensive backfield of the Browns. Banks came across the line of scrimmage, again stripped the interference, and the running back had basically no place to go.
Steelers, after a 1-6 start, have won 3 of their last 4 games. If they lose today, they are mathematically out of the playoff race. Malone on 2nd and 7. Going for the distance. Lewis Lips going for the ball. And Lewis Lips takes it down to the 8-yard line. So Malone with another perfectly timed throw, and Lewis Lips, hampered by injuries this season, back in good health, illustrating that on the last play as it's a 44-yard gain.
And that's his longest catch of the 1986 season, and they picked on Harper, the rookie. Strange, last week, Dokie Williams comes back for the football against Harper and catches a touchdown pass. This is a great adjustment by Lips. Ball underthrown by Malone, and Lips goes up and gets it.
Lewis Lips scored 25 touchdowns his first 2 years in the league, has only 1 touchdown this season, hampered by a hamstring pull and an ankle injury. Now, Lewis Lips and Starwood both on the left flank. It's first and goal, Steelers in this scoreless game. Malone to Ernest Jackson. Wolfley leads the blocking as Ernest Jackson gets down inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line. Eddie Johnson, the leading tackler for the Browns, number 51, made the stop.
The Steelers giving the Browns a little different look here, running lots of motion. Preston Gothard, number 86, the tight end, standing up like he was going to go out for a pass. But the Steelers prefer to run the football down here.
Now, Trump, they've sent a big target in for Malone. Weegee Thompson comes in. He has 5 touchdowns scored this season. Fazuli and Clancy are in to help rush the passer. Second and goal from just inside the Cleveland 4. People leaving early.
Keep running the play. Boy, there's a missed opportunity for Pittsburgh. They had a free play. I think it was Carl Hairston who jumped off sides.
And by free play, of course, you mean because the Browns were obviously offside. Pittsburgh had a free shot at it. They were going to get the play over if they didn't succeed. At Haggerty, the referee makes the signal against the Browns. So the Cleveland Browns, who came in favored by a touchdown, now in trouble at their own end. On Pittsburgh's first possession, 2 key throws by Malone, who's only put the ball up twice. A 13-yard gainer to Abercrombie, a 44-yard gainer to Lewis Lips. And the Steelers are challenging inside the 5.
Offside, defense, number 78.
Big Daddy Hairston called for the offside. Steelers don't let you get at their quarterback often. They've allowed only 14 quarterback sacks all season. Second and goal from the 2. Jackson down close but not in. They spot him down inside the 1-yard line of the Browns.
Jackson is not a very big kid. That time ran almost straight up into the line of scrimmage. Look at that. I'm kind of surprised. Normally a fullback like that. And Jackson's only about 5'10". If he puts his head down, I think he's got a better chance. This is 4-down area for Pittsburgh, I believe. I really do. 4 and 7. If they lose today, they're eliminated. You got to take the 6 points here. Nothing less.
That's where they're going now on 3rd down and 1. The 8th play of this Steeler drive coming up. Abercrombie, he goes in, and Pittsburgh, the underdog, takes a 6-0 lead with 10:33 to play in the first quarter. Walter Abercrombie scoring his 4th touchdown of the season.
Simple sweep play. Good lead blocking up in front of him. And this was all set up by good passing by Malone. You see Terry Long, 74, with a good pull. Excellent job. And a quick 6 points for Pittsburgh.
Now Gary Anderson, who misses an extra point about once every career. He's got over 130 straight. Ready to try the point after, and he's automatic. So an 8-play drive, 75 yards, and the Pittsburgh Steelers take a 7-0 lead with Abercrombie on the payoff end.
Down here on the goal line as a blocker, you don't really try to blow people off the line of scrimmage. You try to change their direction. Watch Ernest Jackson come into the picture. 43 hit Chip Banks 56. He gets him on the ground, and Abercrombie goes right behind him. That's an excellent job of blocking by the Steelers offensive line, who in the last 8 games have done a great job of running the football.
Anderson with 139 straight extra points, ready to kick it off now. Ernest Jackson's been doing some stuff for the Steelers. Another of Buddy Ryan's rejects at Philadelphia. Here is Anderson into the ball. Gerald McNeil, the Ice Cube, is back deep. He ran one back 100 yards against the Steelers in the first meeting for a score. Not here, though, as the Steelers come a hitting at the 18-yard line. Down to make the play was Preston Gothard, a 17-yard return, and here comes Bernie Kosar. Youngest starting quarterback in the NFL. Curtis Dickey and Kevin Mack his runners. Langhorne, a good receiver. Slaughter, a rookie with a lot of speed. And Newsom, who's caught more balls than any tight end in NFL history. Offensive line, big veteran group. Other than Larry Williams, a first-year player from Notre Dame, a 300-pound tackle. Browns in a hole to start their first drive. They're down 7-0. Cold and rainy in Cleveland. Kosar gets time. Penalty markers down as Ozzie Newsom takes it ahead for what will be a first down if the play goes.
I think that's going against Pittsburgh. Harvey Clayton, 33, I believe, was holding a wide receiver. I think it was Herman Fontenot, the guy he grabbed. Now he's talking to Bernie, so this is going to go against Pittsburgh. It'll be an automatic first down.
Holding defense, number 33, declined, first down.
And that's Harvey Clayton, who this entire season has been really having problems covering at cornerback. The Steelers have actually gone with a walk-away, that is a linebacker underneath him to help. And that time there was no walk-away, and Clayton had to hold. Here comes Brian Hinkle now underneath coverage to help Clayton.
First and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. They trail 7-0. Kosar was assailed by the Raider defense a week ago when Cleveland was beaten at the Coliseum. 2 games ago, though, Kosar got time, and he just took Miami apart as a marker goes down, and so does Curtis Dickey for a loss. Edmund Nelson, the right defensive end, making the stop for Pittsburgh. Chuck Noll, a native Clevelander, in his 18th year now as head coach of the Steelers, in his 34th year in professional football. He played for the Browns.
Number 74, offense, declined, second down.
Let's check out the rest of that Steeler defense now. Great speed among the linebackers, particularly on the outside, and Merriweather and Hinkle. Little and Cole, a couple of blasters inside. Cornerback suspect, Swain and Clayton. Shell, an all-pro safety 5 times. Eric Williams, a quick and good free safety. He's playing very deep as Eric Williams on 2nd and 12. Kosar, and down and dropping the ball is Webster Slaughter. Last time we saw Webster in action against Miami, he was dropping balls from San Diego Stadium. Not used to this weather, cold and rainy.
That was right on the money, though. Bernie threw that one perfectly.
The Bengals, the other co-leader in the AFC Central with the Browns, up on the Minnesota Vikings 7-0. New England with a safety on the Buffalo Bills, leading 2-0. Indianapolis yet to get off the schneid, 0-11, leading at Houston 3-0.
And this is exactly the situation the Browns faced last week. A lot of long yardage situations. This is 3rd and 12.
Replay for the Cleveland Browns, and here goes Bernie Kosar firing on the run to sure-handed Brian Brennan. If the play goes, it'll be a first down. It appeared that Keith Willis, the left end, was way offside. We'll see if he was drawn off.
Last week for Cleveland, 6 of their first 9 drives ended up in 3 plays and out. So the Browns got to get started on the right foot today. Keep that pass rush off Bernie Kosar.
10 of 15 possessions Trump against the Raiders. The Browns offense was out in 3 downs.
Defense, number 93.
The play goes. It's an 18-yard gain.
Whoops. No, illegal forward pass.
No, they're over the line.
Declined. Replay the down.
Trouble both ways, so they'll replay it, and the 18-yard play comes back. Kosar over the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. He doesn't like to run and doesn't do it well. He's completing 61% of his passes, though. An 85 quarterback rating. He's been sacked 32 times. Raiders got him 6 times, and they hit him on virtually every passing play. He must have dreamt about 53 Rod Martin all week, because Martin coming on a blitz was popping Kosar. The Raider philosophy: hit the quarterback even if you don't get him before he releases it. Throwing a drop. Terry Grills in first down yardage. So 2 well-thrown balls by Kosar on this drive. Dropped now by Terry Greer after Webster Slaughter dropped one. And so the Cleveland Browns have to punt it.
Well, you can see the zone coverage by Pittsburgh. And Ryan Hinkle was the closest man in coverage. 2 catchable balls. One by Slaughter, one by Greer, dropped.
Jeff Gossett averaging over 43 yards a punt, ready to kick it downfield, and there's Rick Woods. Well hit ball. Gossett drills it. Woods at his 16. Excellent special teams play by the Cleveland Browns. A 55-yard punt and only a 1-yard return. D.D. Hoggard was down to make the tackle. Steelers coach Chuck Noll, he played on 2 championship teams with the Cleveland Browns, and of course is the only coach to coach 4 Super Bowl winners.
Spent a lot of time in this stadium, didn't he?
He has spent a lot of time in this league. 34 years in pro football. He was a 21st draft choice of the Cleveland Browns.
At least he was a pick.
Yeah. His counterpart, Marty Schottenheimer, born in Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania, not too far from Pittsburgh, was an All-American linebacker for the Pitt Panthers. A rising star among the NFL coaches. Abercrombie doesn't get much as those Browns come striking up the middle. Anthony Griggs, an inside linebacker, and Eddie Johnson on the stop. Carl Hairston was also on the play. Denver, on a field goal by Carlos, has taken a 3-0 lead at Giant Stadium. Right now in the first quarter, we have 8:40 to play in it. Steelers drove down the field 75 yards their first possession and went in for the touchdown, and they lead the game 7-0. Malone has taken his time and been very sharp. Is sharp again as John Stallworth coming out the flank. Comes over the middle and gets the ball to the 34-yard line for a 14-yard gain. And so far, Malone has been perfect, Trump.
Dixon was the man in coverage. And, Don, I don't see the bump and run that Cleveland generally uses. Normally, Minifield, who is out, and Hanford Dixon right up in the face of those receivers. Malone has time, really put some steam on it. That's an excellent catch by Stallworth. Lipson Stallworth on already a factor in this game.
Malone 3 for 3 throwing the ball for 71 yards. Big one, the 44-yarder downfield to Lips. Subsequently, the Browns gave up the first touchdown of this game to Pittsburgh, and now running hard is Jackson, a 5'9", 205-pound back from Texas A&M.
One of the things I think that's helped the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is the return of Mike Webster. Missed the first part of the season with a dislocated elbow. That matchup, Webster and Golick, a dandy all day long. Bob Golick able to get over there and assist on the tackle, number 79, but Webster, an absolute Iron Man and still one of the best centers in the game.
Bob Golick, who made a Pro Bowl roster for the Cleveland Browns at nose tackle, said Webster had a lot to do with it. Playing against him twice a year makes you a better player. Malone, good play fake, looking to screen it. Now he's in trouble. Gets a block and gets out of bounds. Bailing out with the help of the 12th man, the sideline.
On that screen pass was set up for Ernest Jackson. He got caught up in the wash. The offensive line was out there in front of him. Both Wolfley and Penny. Watch the left. Watch 43. Watch what happens. See, he gets nailed by Harrison, 78. 43's on the ground. Malone's got nobody to throw it to. So a big play defensively, even though by accident, still a big play.
Officially ruling that a sack for no lost yardage. Only the 15th sack of a Steeler quarterback this season. Now the sure-handed back Rich Ehrenberg is in the game for Pittsburgh. It's 3rd down and 5 from the 40. 7-0 Steelers, the underdog leading in the first quarter. Ehrenberg swinging out, flipping over the middle. Here's a throw, but it's incomplete, and so Pittsburgh will have to punt the ball. Looking at Abercrombie, the ball, as you see, came in low. This game of critical importance for the Browns. It would put a big hole, big blow to their playoff chances should they lose to Pittsburgh. Harry Newsom is in to punt the ball now for Pittsburgh.
Now a two-step punter trying to get the ball off quicker. You can see why Chuck Noll wants him to get that ball away from his foot a lot faster. They're coming after him.
The ice cube. McNeil backpedaling for a fair catch. Good coverage downfield by the Steelers. Running down to force the fair catch was Chuck Sanders. So a 47-yard punt. Cleveland gets its second possession, and we'll be back with the Steelers in the lead. Week 12 beginning this Sunday, actually Thursday night, with that Raider victory over the San Diego Chargers. If the playoffs start in the American Conference today, this is how it would look. Jets, Bengals, Broncos, and the wild cards, the Patriots and Raiders, but still a long way to go. And Cleveland very much in the chase. Right now tied for a divisional lead with a much easier schedule the rest of the way than Cincinnati. Bengals did beat the Browns earlier. Kosar with a swing to Mack and another drop ball. That's 3 by the Browns on their home field front.
That, well, I think would have been a tough catch, though. That's a very difficult pass to throw and catch, and that time there was just enough pressure on Kosar that he couldn't get his shoulders squared. It looked like Darrell Sims, number 99, was in the area of Bernie Kosar.
Max Speedy said if you can touch it, you should catch it. You buy that?
I'll bet Max said that after he retired, right? We all do.
Kosar's numbers, not much today. 1 for 4. 12 yards, but he's had 3 drops. Bernie Kosar, 6'5", strong of arm on long yardage. Herman Fontenot loses the ball at the 45-yard line. Reggie Langhorne going for the ball, missing the over-the-shoulder catch.
Fontenot 28, Langhorne 88. This is that double rotation zone, Don, that Pittsburgh's so famous for. Corners up, safeties out, and Kosar almost gets it in there. 31, Donnie Shell, the closest man in coverage. And a lot of things that Bernie can't do. One of the things that I think he does better than anybody in the game is throw the ball accurately deep. He is just sensational 25 or 30 yards down the field.
Every one of his passes has been touched by a receiver, but he's only hit 1. 3rd and 10, has to make this one go. They give him time. Sidearm throw for a first down to Clarence Weathers. He's out to the 28-yard line.
Mike Merriweather in coverage. Swain there also, a 14-yard gain. And Don, the thing about Bernie Kosar and his offense that you got to like is that coming in today's game, 7 receivers had 20 catches or more. He spreads it all over the field. Watch this sidearm delivery. He gets hit just a little bit by Keith Gary, but that's a tight spiral right at Weathers for a first down.
Bernie Kosar from nearby Boardman, Ohio, on the Pennsylvania line. Half the fans there like the Steelers, half like the Browns. Browns feel very fortunate. Bernie Kosar grew up a Cleveland fan and wanted to play here. Kevin Mack breaks a big one for the Browns. A trap block and then 2 broken tackles, and Kevin Mack, who's not had the season he had a year ago, breaks a big one for 14 yards and another Browns first down.
On that time, the Steelers came with their 5 defensive linebacker set, and what Cleveland would like to do is run away from the linebackers who stand shoulder to shoulder. It was a weak side run. Excellent blocking up front. And now the Cleveland Browns. The other thing about Bernie, he doesn't panic. Down 7-0. He's still in control here. That's one of the coolest kids you'll ever find at quarterback.
Unflappable, as Coach Schattenheimer calls him. High set now. Browns trailing the Steelers 7-0 with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Blitz. Open man. Brian Brennan. And a penalty marker down as Brennan is chopped at the 30. Browns plagued by drops today. They have 2 receptions, and Brennan has been the guy. A 28-yard gainer there.
Holding. Defense, number 26. Behind. First down.
John Swain was the man caught holding, but the Browns will take the 28-yard gain. They beat the blitz. Pittsburgh came with it. Kosar stood right in there. He can feel that pressure on it. Here's Merriweather from the outside, their best blitzer. He's picked up well by Kevin Mack. Kosar stands in there, single coverage, and Brennan makes the reception for 28 yards.
Browns starting to challenge now. 1st and 10. Give us to Dickey. He's come on since coming in as a free agent acquisition. Keith Willis, the leading sacker for the Steelers, made the stop. Giants tie the game up on an Allegre field goal. Chicago trapped a Green Bay runner in the end zone for a 2-point safety. Bengals up on the Vikings 14-3. Not good news for the Browns fans. New England up 9-0 on Buffalo. Extra tight end in the game now. Harry Holt comes in.
Watch the reverse here. Holt can run, Don.
2nd down. The Browns need 8. Dickey. Down to the 26-yard line. A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. Curtis Dickey with 3 runs today, but only 2 yards given up to him by the Pittsburgh defense. 3:19 to go. First quarter. Rain has stopped. Temperature dropping now. Only game all season the Steelers will play on a natural grass field as today's.
Blitz.
Brennan again. Brian Brennan heading for the end zone. Touchdown. He's down at the 3-yard line. So Brennan with a 21-yard reception following his 28-yard catch. Lupe Sanchez saved a touchdown, if but for the moment.
And I think Cleveland will run Pittsburgh out of that blitz. That's twice they've run the blitz, and twice Kosar has hit Brennan to break the blitz. This is a well-executed pattern. There you see 28, Lupe Sanchez way off. And Brennan is just an absolute whisker away from going all of it, getting all of it. There's Merriweather on the outside, picked up well. Bernie reads it, stands in there and takes the hit, makes the completion.
Brennan had a big day against the Raiders. Only Brown that did, really. Steeler defense tough against the run. Only 1 rushing touchdown allowed in the last 5 games. Dave Fazuli is in as an upback, a defensive lineman to lead the blocking. End off goes, and Mack dives over as Fazuli fired it in on the block. And Kevin Mack isn't done yet. Let's see what the penalty marker did come in.
No flags, no indication from the officials. They got to say something.
Holding against the Cleveland Browns, the Steelers say, and so does Pat Haggerty.
Well, that gets them out. It gets the officials out of a bind. Nobody signaled touchdown. Nobody signaled down.
Holding, number 63. Offense, still first down.
Cody Rise, an offensive right tackle. Actually, this puts the Browns in a better position, Don, in my estimation. They're at the 14-yard line. They can throw it now. When you're inside the 10, you almost have to run the option pass run or just run it.
I'd personally rather be 1st and goal at the 4. They we'll see what Bernie Kosar does now. He does have more downfield area to send his receiver.
He's calling out the blitzer, pointing out the blitzer there. Coming with it again, Don.
First and goal from the 19-yard line. Browns trail 7-0. Newsome intercepted by Brian Hinkle. He's not done. I think they've blown it dead.
No, the official walked away from the spot where
They better make a decision because Brian Hinkle had 6.
They haven't yet. The officials are back on the sideline.
It's going to go. The Steelers.
It's a touchdown. Back at the 35-yard line, the officials are standing there, and nobody is marked where that interception took place.
87-yard play if it goes, and I think Trump, we're going to be a pause in the day's occupation here for a bit of a review.
Well, now they're saying Pittsburgh gets the ball, but no official over there marked that he was down. The official lost the spot. Hinkle did the smart thing. He got up and ran. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. When the interception is made by Hinkle, he's got Newsome all the way. 57 Merriweather on the blitz. Hinkle does a great job here. He gets up. Now watch the official right on. Should be right there. Now Hinkle is saying, what's he motioning? He stops motioning though. There, I guess he is down. Pittsburgh has the football.
Steelers might have broken it open early. We'll be back after this.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Steelers battle the Bears.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at cold Cleveland Stadium. The rain is holding off now. It's been intermittent and more as expected. The Steelers with the ball in a 7-0 lead, very nearly a 14-0 lead after Brian Hinkle's return of an interception, but replays show that he was out of bounds. Abercrombie runs the ball out to the 15-yard line. Let's watch the big play by Brian Hinkle again.
From the end zone, it appears that Brian Hinkle's shoulder pads hit the out-of-bounds marker. A tremendous effort for Brian Hinkle. Now watch what happens. See, it looks like he's out of bounds. The official right there in front waves his hands, but upfield for some strange reason. I don't know why, but nevertheless, Pittsburgh is happy. They got the ball.
So the Browns' best drive of this game is stopped on only the 7th interception Kosar has thrown this season. Malone, here's a tip ball and very nearly intercepted back by the Browns. Now while we have a moment with the Steelers in the lead 7-0, let's go to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Don, in New England, the Patriots' Craig James takes the handoff and goes 4 yards for the score. New England leads Buffalo 9-0 in the first quarter. The Bills have lost 21 straight games on the road.
They haven't won since Ahmad was at Buffalo. On the road. Now it is 3rd down and 7 coming up for the Steelers. Playing conditions worsening. This is a very wet field. Torrents of rain fell while the teams were warming up. No turf was on. And now Malone. Out pattern. Look at the play. Lewis Lips can't hold him for 31. Perfectly thrown ball in the normally sure-handed Lewis Lips. 2 times a Pro Bowler in his 2 previous seasons in the league, drops it.
Don, he has gloves on. This is an excellent pattern run. He fakes the in and goes to the out, but with those gloves, when they get wet, they are worthless, absolutely worthless. And there have been...
You never bought the gloves, did you?
No, they just... Anytime it's damp, they're no good whatsoever.
Here's the snap, ready to punt the ball now is Newsome. Downfield punt could be tough to handle. And Gerald McNeil thinks better of it, lets it roll. Browns will start with very good field position at their 47-yard line, a 38-yard punt. Browns had a big chance, though, and a big play by Brian Hinkle, who tipped the ball and intercepted it falling down, stopped it. Now the Steelers failed to move after that long drive the first time they had the ball to take it in for the only score of the game. It's 7-0 Pittsburgh.
On Cleveland's only problem, just catch the football. I mean, they're getting people open, and Bernie's got time to throw it. Now just catch it.
Kosar with 10 touchdown throws this season, now 7 interceptions. Raiders intercepted him twice. First time all season he gave up 2 in one game. Kevin Mack flies over the top, and he's ahead for a gain of 5 yards. Upended by cornerback Harvey Clayton of the Steelers.
That's a good first down call. That little screen pass out in the flat. The Steelers are coming with their 5 linebacker set. This almost looks like a college defense. They have a 2-deep zone and 5 linebackers underneath, along with the cornerbacks at the line of scrimmage. That screen will work a lot.
First quarter ticking down and out. It's down to 15 seconds in running. Browns have won 4 straight at home and 6 of their last 7 at Cleveland Stadium. But they're down right now to the underdog Steelers 7-0. Kosar with a problem. Good throw by Bernie Kosar. Curtis Dickey's going to be very close to a first down on a 2nd and 5 play. And that'll be the last play of the first quarter. Gun sounds. Browns moving it, but the Steelers hold the lead. It's 7-0. Pittsburgh will be back to cold Cleveland Stadium after this. Back at Cleveland Stadium, it's a 7-0 game. The Pittsburgh Steelers in the lead. As we pointed out at the outset, the team in the last 11 meetings between these two clubs with the fewest turnovers has won the game. And there's going to be more turnovers, I think, in this weather, Trump.
Yeah, Hinkle got the first one. It was a heck of a play by Hinkle, and you can't really blame it on the receiver, Newsom, or the quarterback, Kosar, because Newsom kind of fumbled a little bit, stumbled. It was kind of slick out there, but I think Cleveland's now figuring out what that 5 linebacker set is doing to them. They're going to try to throw the ball out in the flat a little bit, get the ball to the running backs as best they possibly can, turn them loose. If we can get a shot, and we will, of the manner in which Pittsburgh is deploying their defense is rather interesting. It looks like an awful lot of college football defenses, but Tony Dungy, figuring that he has so much talent at linebacker, tries to get them all in there at the same time, and the real plus is it gives you an assist in pass coverage.
After a number of early drops in this game, Browns' offense now starting to move. Cleveland had over 400 yards passing 2 games ago against Miami, only 188 yards total offense against the Raiders. First down. Kevin Mack gets some blocking from Paul Farron and Larry Williams and busts into the right side of the Steeler defense. Mack is a 6-foot, 210-pound back from Clemson. Was projected as a 1st or 2nd round draft choice coming out, but he elected to go to the U.S. Football League. Rushed for over 1,100 yards last season, his first as a Cleveland Brown, and he averaged 5 yards a carry. But with his other running back, Ernest Biner, out this season, the Brown running game has slumped badly. Browns right now are 27th in running in the NFL, averaging only 88 yards a game.
Looks like the blitz again, Don. You can see the Pittsburgh Steelers faking it.
Mack's 3rd carry. He's averaging 10 a pop. This time he gets about 3. 2nd and 4. He's close to a first down as the nose tackle for Pittsburgh, Gary Dunn, stopped him.
Last year they averaged in combination, Mack and Biner, about 145 yards rushing per game. This year just 88. Biner will be ready for the playoffs if the Browns are in them. And they've only played, those 2 guys, Mack and Biner, 7 quarters together in this 1986 season.
And you could parallel that to the Steeler wide receivers. A year ago, Lewis Lips and John Starworth combined for 25 touchdowns, 133 catches, and this year the numbers are way down again. Timeout on the field with the Steelers still leading 7-0.
Thank you.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Braun Electric Shavers. Braun, designed to perform better. And by Magnavox, developing new technologies for your entertainment. Nobody puts it together like Magnavox.
80,000 at Cleveland Stadium on the North Shores, they call it, on the shores of Lake Erie. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. The Browns in white, favored by a touchdown, but down by 7. Trailing the Steelers 7-0. Steelers scored on their opening drive. Abercrombie on a 1-yard run. Kosar looking at Newsom. Holt. Long ball to Holt. Harry Holt is open. He's to the 10-yard line. 23-yard gain on the play.
Excellent play call by Lindy and Fonda. They had a double tight end set on 3rd and short. And it's a good play action fake by Kosar. Big gangly Bernie Kosar. He doesn't play fake very well, but you can see that Holt beats 57 Mike Merriweather. And once again, Kosar, when he throws the ball 15 or 20 yards down the field, he is spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Always on the money.
I think that's the first ball that old Harry's caught this year. Harry Holt, big one. Now the Browns go. 1st and goal from the 10-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Blitz again, Don.
Indeed it is. Picked up. Whoa, is there a foul? There is. It's 1st and goal, Cleveland. Langhorne coming off the right flank was chopped by cornerback John Swain. His 2nd foul today.
And that's 3 times now Pittsburgh has come with a blitz. Kosar has audibled and caught him.
Defensive pass interference, number 26, 1st down.
Eventually, Pittsburgh's got to stop that blitz because so far, Cleveland's done a great job against it. Before the ball is there, there is contact. No question about interference there. 1st and goal, Pittsburgh. 1st and goal, Cleveland, excuse me.
Our formation now as the Browns go with Ozzie Newsome and Harry Holt.
Now, hang on to the football is what Cleveland has to do.
Newsome's a guy that can do that if they throw it. He hasn't fumbled in over 400 chances, and he's caught more passes than any tight end in history. He's aligned to the left. Pitch back, though. Newsome blocks. Running with the ball is Curtis Dickey, and he's in. Well, weaving run by the big back with world-class speed from Texas A&M, and the Browns are ready to tie the game if they hit the extra point.
Excellent block out front by Paul Farron, the offensive left tackle, who last week had a tough day against Sean Jones of the Los Angeles Raiders. Curtis Dickey's 4th rushing touchdown. That was a nice drive. Started at their own 48. Very well orchestrated.
6-play, 53-yard drive, and 3:19 on the clock. Matt Barr, troubled by a sprained toe, nonetheless, booms the extra point up and through, and we have a tie game 7-7 at Cleveland Stadium.
Don, this sweep is exactly the way the coaches draw it up. Watch 74 Farron. He pulls out. He doesn't alter his course. Goes through Brian Hinkle, and then Dickey cuts right inside. Excellent scoring run by Dickey. Big 7 points by Cleveland. They answer that drive by Pittsburgh. Now tie it up 7-7.
Good one going, just like they usually do when the Browns and the Steelers hook up. Cleveland was a 27-24 winner at Three Rivers. They're now 1-16 at that stadium in Pittsburgh. Dan Reeder, an upback, will run it back. Big Dan from Delaware takes it to the 31-yard line, and that's where Malone and Pittsburgh goes on offense. While we have a moment, though, back to NFL 86. Ahmad?
All right, Don, in Houston, the Oilers score on this 4-yard pass from Warren Moon to Alan Pinkett, the former Notre Dame running back. They lead the hapless coach 10-3 in the 2nd quarter, and the Colts haven't won since beating Houston last year.
They are going to be a big winner, though, if Vinny Testaverde's in the Hoosier Dome next season.
They certainly are the odds-on choice to get him, right?
It wasn't in. 7-7. Malone on 1st down. Whoa, up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Picking the ball off for the Cleveland Browns. Mark Harper, the much-maligned cornerback.
Ball should not have been thrown, Don. Very poor choice by Malone. He tried to make a big play out of it. Cleveland got a lot of pass rush on him. That was a wounded duck. He knows he shouldn't have thrown that.
That thing was quacking when it came down.
Absolutely.
Mark Harper had it starting from Infield.
Yeah, he doesn't have a real chance to set up. Watch that ball get out around, and there's nobody even close. You can see that Lewis Lips is the closest one. I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds just to avoid the sack. But 73 finally gets him out of bounds.
Probably saved a touchdown. Now the Browns, who trailed 7-0 and come back to tie the game 7-7, are challenging to go ahead. Kosar with a long count. Kevin Mack taking on people, doesn't get much. Gary Dunn, who Schattenhammer rates as one of the fine nose tackles in the league. Everybody else does too when he's healthy. He made the stop. Stanley Wilson has scored 2 touchdowns today running the ball for the Cincinnati Bengals as they've extended their lead over the Vikings now to 21-10 in the second quarter. New England easing in front of Buffalo down 12-0 with another field goal.
Watch the picks here, Don.
Brennan is set to the right. So's Newsom. Mack gets the ball. He's running hard down to the 2-yard line. An excellent blocking up front. Mike Babb, the center for the Cleveland Browns.
And the thing that Cleveland did is they spread the defense all over the field. They had 3 wide receivers, and Ozzie Newsom was spread out about 5 yards from the tackle, and it really spread that Pittsburgh defense. All they needed was a couple of blocks up front, and Mack popped through.
Now big Dave Pizzulli, a 260-pound defensive tackle, is in as an up-back right behind Kosar to lead the blocking. Mack the I-back. They like to go right behind Pizzulli. Mack getting the ball if they go to the run. Mack gets it, and nothing there as the Steelers shut it down.
Well, it looked like if he'd have followed Pizzulli, he'd have walked in. You never question what a running back sees when he's behind the line of scrimmage, but Pizzulli pulled through there, and there's a nice little alleyway for Kevin Mack to get up through the line of scrimmage. Watch. Excellent job once again. Look at there. There's space, and suddenly Mack cuts back inside. They should have given it to Pizzulli.
He'd love it. Big Pizzou from Pittsburgh, Dan Marino's best friend, except when the Dolphins came in here like they did a couple of weeks ago. Blitz. Kosar, they say he can't run, but he does. However, the play is broken up by linebacker David Little. This crowd here is just phenomenal. 80,000. It's like the Roman Coliseum. The constant roar builds to crescendos at every big play.
Good play action fake here by Kosar. Not nimble, but he can move, and once again he throws it right on the money, but David Little with excellent coverage on Harry Holt. Incomplete pass now. 3rd down and about 2 for the touchdown.
Used to play this game, as all the Steeler and Brown fans know, on Saturday night. Some of the people have too much of the adult beverage though and start hitting each other. 3rd down. Kosar has to get rid of it. He does. A tip ball in the end zone. It's intercepted the other way. John Swain has the ball. Penalty markers are down, though, inside the 5-yard line.
We got Pittsburgh offsides, that's for sure. And then there's another late flag. It might be against Pittsburgh. Cleveland's going to get the ball back. A 32-yard return. But it looked like they had Keith Gary on the inside, and he jumped off.
Holding, defense, holding, or offside, defense.
Cleveland gets it back. That was either Willis or Keith Gary. 93, Keith Willis. Just that much, and he's offsides. Newsom, the intended receiver.
Defensive holding. They'll set that penalty.
Defensive holding, an automatic first down, too, so the Browns now have a point-blank range. Ball at the 1-yard line. 9:44 to play in the first half. What a game it's been. Keith Willis, who's been the key in the defensive pass rush of the Steelers.
Give it to Pizzulli. He hasn't carried it yet. Give it to him.
Dave Pizzulli, a 260-pound defensive nose tackle. Into block. Maybe. Mack in. Penalty marker down. We'll see.
That's against Pittsburgh. It's a touchdown.
The official who threw the flag also signaled touchdown, so it must be good for Cleveland.
Offside, number 56 defense. Return.
So the Browns down 7-0 to the underdog Steelers after the first quarter, come back with a vengeance in the second. 2 touchdowns and a 13-7 Cleveland lead.
Sometimes it comes down to a play. Willis offsides. Watch Pazzulli once again. He gets his head right in there and really buries Mike Merriweather, 57, and back into the end zone.
Matt Barr knocks it up and through, and now with 9:41 to go in the first half, it's 14-7 Browns.
Thanksgiving Day, the NFL plays here when the Seahawks battle the Cowboys.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
A Thanksgiving Day special on NBC Sports, beginning with NFL 86 at 3:30. You'll see a feature on a courageous young man, Mark Bonacani, the son of the former All-Pro linebacker Nick Bonacani, making a comeback after a crippling injury playing for the Citadel. Ahmad Rashad will talk with the most popular cowboy of all time, Roger Staubach, and his Thanksgiving memories. Paul McGuire will have an inside look at the NFL. That's preceding Seattle at Dallas Thanksgiving Day here on NBC. Now the kickoff down the field, and it's hit hard into the end zone, and the Steelers, Lupe Sanchez says no, he'll not bring it out. With 9:34 left to go in the first half, it's 14-7. The Browns in the lead. There's a marker down from where they kicked off as Keith Willis had a problem, and the Browns capitalized. That offside, actually a holding, gave him a first down.
Offside. Kickers, number 59.
They'll make him kick it again, that's for sure. Matt Barr with his bad toe kicked it about 6 or 7 yards deep in the end zone.
Having a shootout trump at Cincinnati, where Wade Wilson, the quarterback for the Vikings, has just run for a touchdown. And now it's 21-17. The Bengals in the lead. They're fighting to hold at least a share of the top in the AFC Central with Cleveland. 9:34 to go in the first half.
And we've had a lot of dropped passes and a lot of balls bouncing off shoulder pads. The turnovers are even, an interception for each team, and as you documented to start the game, turnovers are a big key. The Steelers are 4-0 when they commit fewer turnovers than the opponents, and they're 0-7 when they make as many or more turnovers as their opponents.
Lupe Sanchez now moves up 5 yards. Bill Cowher, the special teams coach for the Cleveland Browns, a former linebacker. Marty Schottenheimer in front of him said, "One thing I will guarantee our fans, we will have the best special teams play in the NFL." Browns, over 60 points have been attributed directly to their special teams this season, 60 offensive points. They've set up a lot of scores, but now Sanchez, a former All-American at UCLA who came from the U.S. Football League, runs it back. Matt Barr, the kicker, got him after a 24-yard return.
Malone now some making up to do. His last pass, a pass that should not have been thrown, ended up in 7 points for Cleveland.
One turnover each way, as we pointed out in the last 11 meetings, saving a game in '85 when neither team turned it over. The team with the most turnovers between Steelers and Browns in the last 11 games has lost. Jackson, first down carry for not very much, as Clay Matthews, an outside linebacker, sliced in to get him.
And I think one of the reasons why the Steelers have been so successful the last 4 games, winning 3 of those 4, they've gone to an ultra-conservative offense. They don't want to turn the ball over, and they haven't. 22 turnovers in their first 7 games and 4 turnovers in their last 4 games coming into today.
Malone, you'll remember, started out the game completing 3 of 3 for 71 yards. Missed his last 4, including an interception in those 4. Throwing a catch this time to Stallworth, who does it on guile. He's lost his deep speed in his 13th year in the league. John Stallworth, with the turnout, makes his 18th reception of the year. He's been out with an injury much of the season.
This guy knows how to run patterns. He's got Hanford, Dixon in coverage, and I see the Browns going with a great deal more zone and playing off the receivers than I've seen in a long time. And that may be because Frank Minifield is out, and therefore they don't trust Mark Harper up there and bump and run.
See how it's tailed off. Two combined for 134 receptions and 20 touchdowns a season ago. Only one touchdown catch between Lips and Starworth this year. That by Lewis Lips. Abercrombie has another one bounce off him. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
That's an interesting story. Abercrombie was not considered a very good receiver for Pittsburgh. Ehrenberg in the early part of the season on obvious passing downs would replace Abercrombie. As you can see, they found a receiver now. Abercrombie, too, when he catches the ball, a threat to break a tackle and turn a small gain into a big gain.
Malone ready to put it up on 2nd down and 10. He's got an open man in Preston Gathard, his tight end, who swings out. Knockdown is made at the 39-yard line. Big tight end from Alabama makes his 16th catch. That's one thing Trump, the Steelers have done more of this year. Gone to the tight end. The past few years, the tight end hasn't seen the ball in their offense.
If Bubby Brister has one legacy to this 86 Pittsburgh Steelers football team, it may be getting the ball to the tight end. When he started those two games, Bubby threw the ball to the tight end.
Preston from a very rural part of Alabama. They say he's out there from where the buses don't run. Pitch back. Abercrombie. Look at him go. Abercrombie heading for the end zone. One man with a play on, and Abercrombie is cut down just short of the goal line.
Touchdown.
Yep, the hands go up now, late, but they're up. It's a 37-yard touchdown run.
Now, by definition, that orange cone you see in the corners of the end zone on the goal line are inbounds and in the end zone. Any contact with them, and you are considered in the end zone. Pittsburgh does a great job here of spreading the defense, just as Cleveland did in their big run. And Abercrombie, that acceleration. Now watch that cone in the corner of the end zone. 24, Ray Ellis makes the contact. And that's Abercrombie's longest run of the season. He catches the cone. It is a touchdown. 5 plays, 61 yards. And that 38-yard run by Abercrombie, a dandy.
So with 7:44 left to go, Anderson looks to tie the game, and he does. 7:44 to go in the first half. It is the Steelers 14 and the Browns 14. As Abercrombie, the last 2 seasons, is showing the promise the Steelers thought he would have when he came out of Baylor as their #1 draft choice in 1982. Leading the team in rushing and receiving, his biggest play of this season, a 38-yard touchdown run.
Once again, Don, this is the way the coaches draw him up. He cuts inside 56, Chip Banks, 52, Mike Webster out there trying to make a block. And watch again, Ellis with the contact. And that, well, it's a touchdown. I mean, you can argue that point all day long as to whether or not he's in the end zone. But the hands go up, and it's going to be a touchdown. That's a tough call for anybody with 1,000 replays.
That's the longest run by a Steeler runner this season. A previous 33-yard run by Abercrombie was the longest. And that one's good for 6, and then the 7th point by Anderson.
Now, one of the things that happens on long runs like this is that it's very difficult for the officials to be in a proper position to make the call. And you can see an official that's just about 2 yards away. He's looking from out of bounds.
I thought he was out of bounds.
And the ball is in his outside hand, and they call it a touchdown, and it's going to stand. The replay official will not overrule that.
Excellent second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is David Neal. Our director, Andy Rosenberg, as Anderson now kicks off in this tie game. And here comes Gerald McNeil. You remember he broke one for 100 yards against the Steelers in the first game at Three Rivers, but they've chopped him twice inside the 20. That return was good for only 9 yards, and Lupe Sanchez made the play.
Gerald gets up limping after every single run. He only weighs 142 pounds. Some of those guys hit him. He goes down like a tree in the forest.
We are talking about small people here.
Very small.
And that's with a wet uniform on.
Yeah, everything he has there, right, as you see him. He weighs 146. Now,
After the Cleveland Browns took a 14-7 lead, and the Steelers come back to tie it. The Browns try again with Kosar on first down. Open man, Slaughter. Webster Slaughter running free, and the Steelers' zone defense gets the ball to the 49-yard line, a 31-yard gain.
And again, a superb throw by Bernie Kosar. He flings it kind of sidearm. But this thing is absolutely on the money, and this is a double rotation zone. The spot you got to hit's the middle of it. The safeties rotate out. So you can see Hinkle, 53, is probably the linebacker in coverage. 31 Shell has to make the tackle. That kid is so accurate downfield, it's scary. %61 completions through the first 11 weeks of play. Again, the long count by Kosar on first down. Timing pattern, a man again. This is Langhorne out to the 45-yard line, a gain of about 4.5. Donnie Shell got him for the Steelers. Kosar looks like he's going to the line of scrimmage, Don, and he's got an either-or situation out of the huddle. They go to the line of scrimmage, and it's simply a check with me. It's either one thing or another. And you can see him calling the play and audibilizing and people moving all over the place. That's one thing that Cleveland has done very well this year. Confuse their opponents just by motion and formation. Torrents of rain fell before while the players were warming up. Then a light rain has fallen off and on. It's a wet field. Temperature dropping as the Browns move towards the open end of Cleveland Stadium. Winds are swirling. Throw and a catch. Langhorne, a tough, rangy receiver, gets the ball down to the 35-yard line of Pittsburgh. A 9-yard gain and a first down for the Browns. Detroit and Tampa Bay at halftime already with the Lions in the lead. Five minutes and 28 seconds left to go in the first half. Bernie Kosar has completed 10 of 16 for 155 yards, 1 interception. His counterpart, Mark Malone, has also been intercepted once. Curtis Dickey down to the 33-yard line of the Steelers, where Dennis Dirt Winston got him. Dickey's really come alive. I don't know what they've talked to him about here in Cleveland, but they've motivated him. A former #1 draft choice of the Colts. He was waived outright by that team, picked up by Cleveland, and he's given them some very big games. 228 pounds, and he's one of the fastest players in the NFL. He is hard to motivate, too. Kosar Trump, with his 10 completions, according to our NBC statistician Ross Schneiderman, has thrown to 9 different ones for completion. Very typical of Cleveland. Long ball. Penalty markers down. Herman Fontenot coming off the far flank, going for the ball. Harvey Clayton was defending on the play, and there's a penalty marker down in the Pittsburgh secondary. It's interference, but who is it on? Offense or defense? I think it's against the offense. Oh, it's against Clayton. That kid has had trouble all season long. Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator of Pittsburgh, has tried all kinds of things to give him assist underneath, and every time he's out there in single coverage, they either beat him or he holds somebody.
Illegal contact, number 33, defense, first down.
You can see at the top of the screen, here's the combination. You're only allowed to chuck inside 5 yards, and Clayton just stands there 10 yards deep and puts his hand out. I don't know how he can figure he won't get caught. So the Browns are beneficiaries and get a first down at the 29-yard line of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh blitz, Don. They're showing it. People up tight, ready to come at Bernie Kosar. Here comes Merriweather, but the handoff to Kevin Mack is down to the 20-yard line. So far, Cleveland's done an excellent job every time Pittsburgh has shown that blitz. They've run several different plays to break it up. Willis has a bad arm. We're not sure he'll return, but being attended to by the trainer on the sideline, their best pass rusher. He leads the Steelers with 9.5 sacks. Free agent from Northeastern.
Tough to block. He comes in low. He's barely over 6 feet tall, but he weighs 260. Comes in like a tank.
Looks like the blitz again, Don. Cleveland's beating this every time.
Browns need one. It's second down. Game is tied. 14-14.
Look at this. Look at this.
Ozzie Newsome heading for the end zone.
They got to get out of that blitz.
Scores his 3rd touchdown of this season.
They got to get out of that blitz. Cleveland has beaten it every single time. Offenses eventually run teams out of coverages, and so far that blitz has not worked. They've not gotten to Kosar, and they left a lot of receivers wide open. That was a great read by Kosar. Those are the toughest catches to make, too, when you're down there. The tuba player covering you, or some guy in the stands covering you.
Was a stroll down the beach for Ozzie Newsome now. 20 yards, nobody laid a glove on him. And so now the Browns have the lead again. Looking to extend it to 7 points, which they do on the extra point by Barr. 6 plays, 80 yards. Kosar to Newsome on the payoff end from 20 yards out. And it's Cleveland 21, Pittsburgh 14.
And I certainly never thought that we'd have 35 points scored in the first half by these two teams. And watch the blitz. Watch what you see. Newsome right in front of you. And Hinkle and Merriweather both, they rush the quarterback. When Newsome delays, no coverage. Easy touchdown. Now watch both of them right at the bottom of the screen. When Newsome sets up, Hinkle comes. You got all 3 of them going there. Kosar says, oh, easy pickings.
Hey,
catch it, Ozzie.
That's good coaching. Everybody was picked up, and Ozzie Newsome was running free. As you see, Hinkle come into the hot area, the open area left by the blitzer, and Kosar goes right to it. Touchdown, Cleveland.
The big plays that Cleveland has had in this first half, Don, have generally come against a blitz by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers came into the game with 33 pass sacks. They were in the upper third of the NFL in that area. San Diego, through 11 games, had the most, 45, followed by the Giants and the San Diego Chargers with 44 and 43. And they're coincidentally playing today where field goals have been the difference. Raul Alegre kicking another one. It's the most points scored against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 21 in a single quarter this year. Sanchez running it back for the Steelers. Great block, and look at Sanchez rip it across midfield. They get the angle on him. El Gross finally drives him out of bounds inside the 45-yard line at the 40. No, is there a marker down up across the way at the
I don't
14?
think so.
Is that a piece of paper?
It's a 58-yard return, and I think all that is a piece of paper.
A yellow one.
It stands. The return stands. I'm telling you, 35 points scored by these two teams in a quarter and a half or quarter and 3/4. When he gets to the outside here, someone's got contained. There it is, an excellent block out front by number 91 of the Steelers, Greg Carr.
What a game. Steelers looking to come back now. Trailing 21-14, and here's Abercrombie. Last time he had his hands on it, he took it in for 38 yards and a touchdown. This time he gains 9 before free safety Chris Rockins gets him for Cleveland. Rain holding off, but the field still very wet from the heavy rains earlier. Swirling winds. The flags are going every which way here at Top Cleveland Stadium. Abercrombie is taken down on the play by Reggie Camp, the left end.
The Steeler offense, a good trapping offense. Anytime they can try the trap, they will, with Webster, Long, Wolfley. At that time, Reggie Camp had an inside predetermined move, and he was there almost to take the handoff.
Rich Carlos hit his second field goal for the Denver Broncos as they're up on the Giants 6-3. Bears holding to a 9-0 advantage over Green Bay, a safety and a touchdown.
First down Pittsburgh, Don.
Abercrombie's gained 63 yards and 8 carries. New England with another field goal extending its lead over Buffalo. As We have 2 minutes and 23 seconds to play in the first half. Here at Cleveland, the clock is running. The Browns are in the lead, 21-14, but the Steelers are driving. They have the ball first down at the Cleveland 30-yard line. Abercrombie, making the move upfield, is knocked out of bounds by the strong safety Ray Ellis. We're down to 2 minutes to play in the first half. We'll be back to Cleveland Stadium after this. NFL 86 at halftime, the scores and the highlights, and also an interesting report on Napoleon McCallum running well for the Raiders, while another Naval Academy running back, Eddie Myers, has not been allowed to play yet in the NFL. Former coach of Buffalo, Hank Willis, we look at Chuck Noll, once referred to Napoleon McCallum as that Bonaparte kid from the Naval Academy. Hank Snelleprop sidelined for the time being. I'm sure he'll be back as a defensive coordinator. As looking to throw is Mark Malone. Home run ball. John Stallworth is inside the 5-yard line.
No catch.
They rule him out. Chris Rockins gave him some help. Banged him when he caught the ball.
John thought he caught it. He's trying to concentrate on the football, know where the defense is, and the sideline. This is a tough throw for Malone. He beats the coverage. Let's see. Yes, sir. Second foot was out of bounds. Second foot was out of bounds. In the NFL, both feet must be in. Watch his right foot on the line. And strange that the Steelers have run almost 3-1 to the right side of their offense. They're running at Reggie Camp.
Brown starts up. Steelers down by 7. There's a blitz. An open man. Ball tipped and lost by Stallworth inside the 20. Coming like a freight train was Hanford Dixon. He wasn't scheduled to play. He exchanges words with Mark Malone.
Very timely blitz called by Marty Schottenheimer and the Cleveland Browns.
Just like they like it in this series.
Well, I'm surprised it's taken them this long. Stallworth almost makes that catch, but Hanford Dixon from the cornerback spot is there to put pressure. You can see what happens here. The man in coverage is Felix Wright. He goes up with Stallworth. Incompletion. Anderson on the kick.
He's made 7 of his last 8. He's only missed from 56 yards. What a shot he puts into the ball.
No.
But it's no good. Gary Anderson is wide, and so the Steelers drive downfield. They come away with nothing. 1:42 to play in the first half, and the score remains the Browns 21, the Steelers 14.
On Anderson was a good bet to make that. That's just his second miss in 10 tries. NFL's all-time leading kicker percentage-wise. But maybe because the Steelers are playing their first game on grass for the entire season or preseason, it had a slight effect on the kick.
So now let's see what the Browns can do. They were down, was Cleveland, at the end of the first quarter, 7-0, and then they came back with 21 second quarter points to 7 for Pittsburgh. It's a 21-14 lead, Cleveland.
Draw.
It's going well as Kevin Mack breaks up the middle. Wisely with 2 arms on the ball. Mack takes on tacklers, and he goes ahead for 17 Cleveland yards.
Now, once again, Cleveland spread the defense. The linebacker who was standing there assigned to Kevin Mack is Dirk Winston, 55. And they ran just a little fold block, center and guard, and got a good hit on Winston. Nobody there to make the tackle.
Now Kosar goes to his 2-minute offense, spreading receivers all over the field with 1:10 to play in the clock running first half. Light rain falling. Kevin Mack again.
Fumble.
Free ball. And the Steelers might have it.
I think they got it, Don. They took it. Looked like they took it right out of the hands of a Cleveland offensive lineman, Rising.
Timeout. Cleveland, number 2.
Rising was the guy who made the fumble recovery.
So, a break in the action, and back to Cleveland after this.
Watch the offensive right tackle, 63, Cody Risen, after he makes a block on Keith Gary. When the ball pops loose, looks like Merriweather strips it. Risen dive. Now it's Brian Brennan and then Cody Risen who makes the recovery.
So now Kosar and the Browns, 2nd down and 7 at their 48-yard line. He's been well protected, has Bernie Kosar, and Brian Brennan with another sensational reception. Small but elusive from Boston College. Brian Brennan weaves ahead for a Cleveland first down, a 10-yard gain.
That was Lupe Sanchez in coverage. Brennan took it right away from him. Eric Williams finally with the catch back to the line of scrimmage for Cleveland.
Browns with just 1 timeout remaining. As you see the game clock winding down in the 2nd quarter.
Brennan again.
Over the middle to Brennan. He's down to the 22. Now they call timeout. So Kosar will have time to throw it and then go for the field goal if they don't connect. We'll be back to Cleveland Stadium with the great ball game right after this.
Don, watch Brian Brennan's release to the outside. Then he gets by Lupe Sanchez. Kosar finds him wide open. Big first down catch.
Trump, the Browns have scored now in each of their last 3 possessions to take a 21-14 lead. Kosar, 16 seconds left. Throws it away wisely. 12 seconds left. Will he pass again or will they go for the field goal? Gary Dunn put a big rush on Bernie Kosar and nailed him. Kosar took a beating last Sunday against the Raiders.
Kosar looks hurt, Don. Looks like he got hit right on the hip. He's coming off holding his side. He's the franchise. You can see the rib pads up underneath his arms, but that doesn't protect your hip. He does not like to talk to the doctor or the trainer, but that was a heck of a hit by Gary Dunn.
39-yard field goal by Matt Bauer. He's been hot. Has hit 10 of his last 12. The only miss is a 51-yarder and one that was blocked. We saw the usually hot Gary Anderson go wide in his last attempt for the Steelers. He's no good, and Matt Bauer, so both teams failed to get points on field goal tries in the closing stages of the first half. With 7 seconds left, the Steelers send out their offense.
Friday, Matt Bauer went out and was practicing the onside kicks and jammed his big toe. And they weren't sure if he was going to be able to kick at all. The backup kicker is Harry Holt, the tight end. He's a straight-ahead kicker. But that didn't appear to bother Matt Bauer at all.
Matt Bauer, the former Steeler, trying to put up points on him. He's got a Super Bowl ring from Pittsburgh. I think he's got 2 of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's the backup kicker, Harry Holt.
Steelers elect to down the ball, run out the clock, and both teams now head for the locker room. A lot of action in the first half and a lot of points. The Cleveland Browns holding to a 21-14 lead over Pittsburgh. Bernie Kosar getting some counsel from his coach, Marty Schottenheimer. You see Kosar's first half numbers. He could be on the way to a career day. His best so far was the 401 yards he put up against Miami 2 games ago. See how that hard shot put him on by Gary Dunn affects him.
I'll tell you, though, that touchdown pass he threw was the first he'd thrown in 3 weeks. We had 401 yards passing against Miami. Did not throw for a touchdown.
NFL halftime activities will continue a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Since not every...
Welcome back to NFL 86. You know, playing ball at one of the service academies has never been the most direct route to the pros. For example, Roger Staubach won the Heisman in 1963, graduated from the Naval Academy a year later, and didn't begin his Hall of Fame NFL career with the Cowboys until 1969. That's the way it's been until now.
Ensign McCallum, U.S. Navy, reporting for duty.
Reporting to both the Navy and the Los Angeles Raiders, Naval Academy graduate Napoleon McCallum holds down 2 full-time jobs these days. The Navy has relaxed a long-standing tradition by allowing him to play professionally while still completing his 5-year military obligation. And they've conveniently stationed him aboard the USS Peleliu at Long Beach Naval Shipyard, just a half hour from the Raiders' practice site.
You know, when I walk into the locker room, you know, I'm in uniform and everybody will go, "A tin hut," you know, or here comes our weekend warrior, and, you know, Nap just flew in on his helicopter. A lot of, you know, kidding like that. But pretty much they respect what I'm doing, and they feel for me, and they wonder how I can keep doing what I'm doing.
What he's doing is waking up at 4:20 each morning and then going to work as a food service officer aboard the Peleliu. Now, McCallum realizes that had he been unencumbered by his military obligation, he could have been a first-round NFL draft choice. As it was, the Raiders were smart enough to take a chance on him in the 4th round. He's a reserve running back and dangerous kick return man. And the irony isn't lost on McCallum, working for 2 organizations with distinctly different images.
That's what the Raiders do. They play rough, tough football. We're aggressive. And I think I can fit that mold, you know, on Sundays and still come back on Mondays and be the officer and the gentleman that I'm supposed to be.
But the critics say McCallum is not exactly what he was supposed to be upon graduation from the Naval Academy. After all of these past Service Academy stars fulfilled their military obligations before ever moving on to the pros, where they performed with varying degrees of success. They all knew they were giving up precious pro seasons, but they all knew the rules as well. The price of a free military education: serve now, play later.
Well, the Academy certainly is not here to produce professional athletes. The Academy is here to produce professional naval officers.
We just don't believe that the taxpayer should be subsidizing us training professional football players.
On the other hand, you can argue that having an appealing young man like McCallum performing in the NFL is excellent PR for the Navy, a great recruiting tool, and besides, says Napoleon, he's doing both jobs.
A lot of people thought, you know, I'm wasting the taxpayers' money. I should be serving the Navy. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm serving the Navy.
About 90 minutes down the road at Camp Pendleton, we find Marine Captain Eddie Myers. In 1981, while playing for the Naval Academy, Eddie Myers was the nation's 5th leading rusher behind names like Marcus Allen and Herschel Walker. In fact, Eddie held most of the Naval Academy rushing records eventually broken by Napoleon McCallum. Now, for the past 4 years, while stationed here at Camp Pendleton, Eddie Myers has lodged 4 separate requests for a change of duties, which would allow him to play with the Atlanta Falcons while still fulfilling his military obligations. All 4 requests, including his most recent appeal to the Secretary of the Navy, have been denied.
I was not at any one point in time trying to get out of my military commitment. All I've ever requested was to either alter it, so I would either do it after my football career or serve it concurrently if that was possible.
But the Marines have told him repeatedly there are no appropriate military positions available for him in Atlanta. So Eddie Myers continues to dream, work out on his own, use his leaves to visit the Falcon camp in the summer, and argue his case.
I felt that the Marine Corps and the Naval Service as a whole, the Naval Academy, would have benefited greatly from my playing in Atlanta. I think that would have been a great benefit towards the assistance of recruiting, just to show fellow Marines that that you can be in the Marine Corps, be a Marine Corps officer, be enlisted in the Marine Corps, and still pursue, if you have a special talent in one aspect or the other, still be able to pursue that talent.
Eddie Myers is proud of being a Marine, and his superiors will tell you he has served well. But still, when his obligation ends a year from now, he plans to take a crack at the NFL at age 28. Myers and McCallum are friendly, by the way, and certainly Eddie feels no resentment toward Napoleon. But what he views as an inconsistency does gnaw at him, and a question arises. Is McCallum merely a lone exception, or has some sort of precedent been established here? A precedent that might affect the future of the Naval Academy's All-American Basketball Center, David Robinson. A certain early first-round NBA pick this year, were he free to play. Interestingly, Robinson might be an exception for a different reason. His very height disqualifies him for duty aboard ship or in the air. He's 7 feet tall. Although the Navy could require him to work in public affairs or intelligence, some area like that. Robinson, by the way, scored 36 points yesterday as Navy was beaten by North Carolina State, 86-84. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue in a moment. Stay with us.